Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So I heard about this taking place just recently, and I thought that it was very interesting, and not interesting in a good way, but interesting in an odd way. Everybody knows there was a biopic that was supposed to be made in honor of Richard Pryor, and everybody kind of just assumed that Mike Epps would be the one to take that role, that he was the perfect one for that role. There was a lot of parallels between Mike Epps, his life, the things that he struggled with, and Richard Pryor. So like I said, a lot of people said that he was perfect for the role. But something happened. They fell out. He fell out with Richard Pryor's ex. Allegedly, this woman was married to him. She was one of a few people who he was involved with long term. They fell out. They got divorced. Allegedly, if I'm not mistaken, she did remarry him closer to the end of his life and help take care of him in those last moments that he spent here. And allegedly, if I'm not mistaken, he gave her the rights to do whatever she saw fit with the biopic. Now, allegedly, according to Mike Epps, he claims the reason why she didn't want him to do the biopic anymore was because she wanted him to sleep with her. And he said no, basically. Now, everybody knows I'm supposed to say allegedly. But if it's true, then I'm glad that he didn't do it, because I don't support people sleeping with people for roles. I don't think that that's ever the way to go. It's debaucherous, it's trashy, and I get it. A lot of people have been passed over for roles that they do deserve and should have, and that fit them perfectly, that they can play perfectly because they didn't sell out, they didn't pimp out their morals, their self-respect. It happens in the industry all the time behind closed doors. But that's still not the way to go. Self-respect is the way to go. Now, once again, people reminded us all that Richard Pryor's ex-wife has rights. She owns his estate, allegedly. Once again, she has a lot of say over how this biopic goes. And if she decides whoever it is not portraying a certain role the way she wants them to, she has the right to say, I don't want them in this film, because she's the one who controls this stuff. Some people feel like maybe they fell out because he wanted to portray Richard Pryor in a certain way that she did not want him to, and that's why she told him no. Like I said, at this point, that's only speculation. At the same time, we can't act like this kind of stuff doesn't happen quite often, actually, with these kind of situations, with these biopics, because allegedly something's going on somewhat similar with Tyrese Gibson and the family of Teddy Pendergrass, because allegedly he was supposed to play Teddy Pendergrass in either a documentary or also a biopic, but something happened with him and the family, and they stalled the biopic, and he's trying to get it put out still. Like I said, this kind of stuff actually does happen. Now, she said that it wasn't because of that. She claimed out of her mouth, allegedly, it was because, and I quote, she said that he was ghetto. Now, a lot of people took that, very offensively, coming from a white woman, understandably so. People keep forgetting that just because some white people date, marry, and have children with even black people, that doesn't mean that they actually like black people, especially if they're no longer with that particular black person. Now, notice I didn't say all white people. I said some white people who do this. And once again, said those some white people, they don't have any allegiance to black people. They don't have any allegiance to the black community. So why people keep thinking they're going to work and operate in the black community's best interest, I'll never understand that. And unfortunately, this situation has very quickly turned into, quite literally, a he said, she said, her word versus his word situation. As I've said before, casting couch situations happen all the time in Hollywood. I don't put anything past anybody, especially somebody who has the power to make somebody do that. And she has that kind of power due to the fact that it is up to her whether or not this biopic gets put out or not, who gets to play Richard Pryor at all. So it's not like what Mike Epps said is completely outside of the realm of possibilities, because it most certainly is within. On the other hand, because of that Shannon Sharpe incident, a lot of people don't have the same credibility placed in him as they might have before. And I certainly do hope, and I mean this genuinely, that is actually what came out of that woman's mouth, because low-key, if it's not only is he teetering possibly into defamation territory for making this woman look crazy, disrespectful, and racist, because as you can see here, he also joked, and I put that word in air quotes, that she called him the N-word as well. But he would also be having to deal with the fact that he just ruined something that he could have had that was really great, all over him wanting to tell a joke or say something that was not actually the truth, or say somebody said something that didn't actually come out of their mouth and slap, oh, it's a joke over it, like he's done before. just recently, if you all remember. I done told y'all before, not everything is funny. Some things need to not be said, some things need to not be joked about. Once again, this is an issue we've been having in the black community with a lot of these black comedians. They like to say stuff that's disrespectful and label it a joke. People in the community co-sign it and they feel justified in doing it, and they face no consequences. Then they get comfortable, they become prideful, and then it's all fun and games until they make a joke about somebody and then they actually do have to suffer the consequences for that joke that they made about that particular person. Like I said, I really hope that's not the case. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those casting couch situations, but once again, at this point, it's his word against her word. Unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. It's a stalemate, so to speak. Now, let's shift gears for a little bit, just for a moment. Now, I mentioned that it was interesting, and not interesting in a good way, but an odd way, that this even came up so recently after that Shannon Sharpe situation. And here's the reason why. A lot of people were bringing up the fact that allegedly Richard Pryor was into some homosexual stuff. And that if somebody's going to play Richard Pryor, they have to play that part as well because that was a part of his story, allegedly. Now, Mike Epps was one of the main comedians who jumped on the disrespect train and had some disrespectful things to say about Shannon Sharpe amidst all of the homosexual allegations. Mike Epps is straight, as far as I know. He has a wife. There's nothing wrong with him being a straight man having a wife, although it would be quite hypocritical for him to accept a role if he was going to go on and play it and portray a man in a biopic who allegedly had homosexual tendencies or alleged homosexual involvement after what he did to Shannon Sharpe. So the question that I would have is, once again, if he had the chance to still go on and play Richard Pryor, and they went ahead and said, okay, we want you to play him to a T, these allegations we're going to include in the biopic because we feel like that makes him exactly what he was when he was here, and we want to represent him to a T, would Mike Epps have still accepted that role? And if he would have, once again, that would have made him a hypocrite. So once again, the jokes, how he was so quick to jump on the disrespect train, like I said, he kind of talked himself into a corner if we want to really be honest. So once again, if he were to even still go on to accept that role, even if him and Richard Pryor's ex-wife decided we're going to bury the beef because I think he would have wanted you to play the role, y'all best believe that they're going to include that in that role because that's how Hollywood gets down. So once again, after all of that, would he have still gone on to play the role anyways with that stuff included? And if he did, y'all realize once again that makes him a hypocrite. So you done did all this stuff and embarrassed this man along with everybody else who wanted to do it and disrespect him, all to want to go on and play a role by a man who had alleged homosexual tendencies. Do y'all not see the problem with this issue? Like I said before, it's all fun and games and making these jokes, once again in air quotes, until the jokes lead to places that are not funny anymore, until serious stuff starts happening. And it's sad it even has to get to that point before people even open their eyes and realize what went wrong and why it shouldn't have went there to begin with. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, beautiful, and safe day.